MR.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Good afternoon, Radio Cayman Nation, and happy Monday to all of our loyal listeners. As always, you're tuned in to the station of the nation, Radio Cayman, and I'm your guest host for today, Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We are grateful once again today for you for letting us into your homes, cars, and offices for today's episode of Talk Today. Stay tuned for Talk Today following this brief commercial break.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in for today's show, I'm your stand-in host, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Today on Talk Today, we'll be featuring mental health matters with Dr. Alexandra Bodden, and later in the show, we will be meeting our finalists for this year's Young Caymanian Leadership Awards. Before we get into today's show with mental health matters, we would like to take a moment to thank all of our participants, sponsors, and volunteers who took part in Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run this past weekend, raising funds for both the NCVO and John Gray High School music program. It was our 12th successful 5K event, and we couldn't have done it without all of you in Radio Cayman Nation. Congratulations as well to our overall male and female finishers, Michael Smilkey and Ava Hyder. On that note, let's meet our panelists for Mental Health Matters. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right, so we have a fun topic today, talking about the work with animals in mental health.
Yep.
Lead us into this. Talk.
Yeah, so we thought that this would be, because it's a growing topic, and it's been a very hot topic and actually quite a controversial one in the States, but it's growing, there's a growing awareness in Cayman as well. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity to talk about the role of animals in mental health, shine some light on the benefits of working with animals, how animals are being incorporated more and more into different therapeutic activities, as well as looking at some of the controversies that have come up in the States as well.
Fantastic. And now we had talked before the show. You are a EGALA certified therapist.
That's correct.
What is EGALA? Very briefly. We'll talk a bit more on it later on. But
no, it's okay. Yeah, EGALA is the Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association. So it's a global organization that ensures that they provide a program for licensing or for certification for equine-assisted psychotherapy and learning. So this is where we use horses in therapeutic activities. So EGALA is always done by a team. It's done with a mental health professional, which would be me. So Ms. Shana Fandui is actually my equine specialist, and the two of us work with clients with horses. Really interesting. It's all done on the ground with the horses loose in the arena. And the goal is to have clients learn about themselves, about relationships, and learn new skills as well. So EGALA is it's a very structured program and approach to everything. We also come with our own set of ethics and standards as well to ensure that clients are safe and the work is well done.
Okay. Yeah. And Dr. Brown, you work with kids predominantly.
Yes, primarily children and adolescents.
Okay, and talk to us a bit about the benefits of children and pets and some of this approach towards the youth side of the things.
Okay, well, I love pets, so it's going to be hard for me to be succinct, but I will try my best. So pets have been shown to have many benefits. One of the big benefits that has been shown through research is looking at the physical health benefits. So that's actually across age stands. So you look at lower blood pressure, less stress, heart rate changes. Serotonin actually ups in the brain when people play with pets or give pets, feed pets. And in particular with children, it's been really helpful for kiddos who have ADHD or autism to try to learn self-regulation skills. It also helps to give them a sense of responsibility. So it gives them a way to start, to develop structure in their lives as well as understand a schedule. So that can be really, really beneficial.
Now, when you say self-regulation, what do you mean by self-regulation?
So if you think about it, pets usually treat us with the same kind of emotions that we treat them with. So, for example, if you are very kind to an animal, animals are usually pretty kind back, unless they've been hurt in the past. So, therefore, it helps kiddos to be able to kind of regulate their emotions so that way they realize, well, wait, if I am really screaming, yelling, Fluffy's mad at me and Fluffy doesn't want to come near me. So, therefore, if I am nice and I use calm voices, then Fluffy comes back over.
All right, fair enough. And Miss Pandubi, you were the quiet one so far. How are you today?
Well, I could use one of those therapy animals right now because I'm a little nervous.
We'll make it very, very painless for you. Don't worry. We're an easy bunch over here. It's not live, by the way. There's nothing live right now.
Right.
You don't have to try. How did you get involved in this element, working with the equine? Did I say that right?
Equine, yeah.
Sorry.
And Michelle actually offers a lot of different services as well, so she'll fill us in on both.
Absolutely, please elaborate.
I started out with therapeutic horsemanship, therapeutic riding, and that's not actually therapy; it's therapeutic, and the participants benefit from the horses in emotional, cognitive, physical, and social aspects of their lives. And then I discovered equine-assisted psychotherapy and started looking at what kind of models were available for that and found EGALA. And Dr. Bodden and I got certified together with the EGALA model. And then we also offer something called hippotherapy, which is using the horse in the treatment strategy for physical therapy. So that's not about teaching horsemanship or riding skills. It's about using the movement of the horse as part of the treatment strategy. And that requires a certified therapeutic riding instructor and someone who's certified in providing hippotherapy. And what we offer is physical therapy.
That was a mouthful. You didn't sound nervous at all.
Cool.
Did fantastic. Is any of those training sessions to become a therapist available on island?
No.
Okay. Guess it's quite detailed.
Yes.
Right,
for
enough.
the therapeutic riding, I went away for several months and did an intensive training. It was kind of like doing a mini MBA, and at the end, I felt like my brain was going to explode, but I learned a lot, and then we went away for the EGALA training as well. And then the physical therapist that I work with, she's gone away for training with the American Hippotherapy Association.
Hippotherapy. Okay. Fantastic. There's a lot of information there to kind of digest there. If we could take it back to you, Dr. Bodden, and can you talk a bit about what other programs are available currently on island for this animal mental health combination?
Yeah. Well, actually, you just got the main rundown of it.
The main rundown from the equine
So Cowboy
side.
Town offers most of the things, of the, especially actually all of the equine-assisted activities like this. So I ride horses as well, which is how I got the interest in it. It's an awesome merging of horses and psychology. Well, I think horse riding's great for anyone, and that connection with the horses and the responsibility that comes with it, like Dr. Brown talked about. Ms. Shana actually offers a wide range of programs. So with the EAP or the EAL, we've done with EAL, which is equine-assisted learning, we've done workshops for different teams that focus on communication, team building, achieving goals, problem solving. With that, we set up a lot of different activities to tap into different skills and to help people understand things. It's very client-centered. So from the radio show, everyone knows that I do CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is very skill-based, evidence-based. But E-Gala is evidence-based as well, but actually very experiential. It's about being in the moment with the horses, and it works a lot with metaphors from things that transpire with the horses, because whatever happens in our real lives tends to play out in the arena. It's like magic. I love this work. And so with EAL, we will help teams and people understand more about themselves. With EAP, which you might do individually with clients or in a group, we take it a bit further and look more emotion-based, and really try to facilitate insight into what's going on for the client. So we push them a little bit more with the EAP. If that's what the plan is for the day. Ms. Shana can probably tell you more about the therapeutic horsemanship, because she works with a lot of physical developmental disabilities as well. And then there's been a few things on island as well, which I think Dr. Brown has some more information on, with the dogs being brought into with the prison. And in the States, horses are actually getting to go into schools and everything as well. So there's opportunities for growth.
Fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
there is the horses, we have dogs. Are there other animals that tend to work in this field as well, or participate in this field? Work might be not really great choice of words.
Yeah, so as Mashina talked about, the difference between therapeutic versus therapy. So like when we work with the horses, it's not just spending time with the horses, which is therapeutic. The connection with animals, and, we all know kind of the warm feelings we get when animals respond to us. But it's actually set up by a licensed professional, a licensed mental health professional, with specific goals in mind. So the horses are used as part of our treatment team to address specific things. Sometimes dogs can be used in that way, but a lot of times dogs come in more as a comfort. So we see a lot of that in the States, like in retirement homes. They're being brought in as a source of comfort. Actually, I even saw where they're using chickens. But for this kind of higher level of therapy, they're also using dolphins. So not on island as far as I know.
Not yet. Now, you mentioned the team building element.
Yes.
Can you walk us through a little bit more about that? Is that like corporate team building you're
Yes.
mentioning? Okay.
Yeah.
Are these services available on island?
They are. Okay. And so Ms. Shana and I offer them up at Cowboy Town Stables. Okay. So it's run through On Course Cayman, which is my private practice. We've actually held several trainings for other providers, to other mental health providers or horse specialists, to come in and learn more about what we do. That goes through what E-Gala is, how it works, and then we try it out with them as well. So it's an experiential workshop. We've had great feedback on it. Everyone who's come has really enjoyed it. And so what we do is that if we are contacted for a team building, so it might just be EAL, Equine Assisted Learning, and we do it all at the stables. Ms. Shana has a fabulous place, if no one's been to Cowboy Town Stables. It's a great milieu, like a really nice, relaxing environment. And there we have 2 different arenas that we can use for different activities. We'll meet with probably the HR person or whoever's setting it up to find out what their goals are for their team. And then we'll set up different activities to tap into those. And it's really cool because as the horses come in, so horses are prey animals, so they're very aware of what's going on around them. They're also...
You said prey animals.
Prey animals.
Okay.
Yes. They're the ones that get eaten.
Correct. Yes. Be on the lookout of all the sharp
Exactly.
teeth.
Very good at looking after themselves and keeping themselves safe, which is something that many humans are working on as well. But they're also herd animals, so they're very attuned to social cues. So when people come into the arena to do things with the horses respond in different ways depending on what they feel from the team. And it works a lot on metaphors as well. So as we set up different things, whether tapping into communication, overcoming problems, achieving goals, there's different things that we'll set up. And then a lot of times we will then say, as things come up with the horses, we'll just make an observation about what happens with the horses and ask if that's something that they've noticed in the office or amongst themselves. And a lot of times it has been.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So people tend to be at times apprehensive. Horses are big.
Yes.
Animals, and so they can be a little intimidating to be around. What are some of the activities that could potentially be involved in the team building element?
Yeah, so, and I will say that anxiety is actually part of what I think makes this so powerful, right? Because the horse, especially because they're loose, right? So horses, we expect them to be horses because we want them to respond naturally to the group and to what's going on. But that kind of tension, so the idea here is that, in office we talk about things and come up with ideas. The goal here is to have it happen in the arena so you can work through it in real time in the present. And so when they come in, we might have them moving the horses either through obstacles, over obstacles. They might have to go get a horse and bring it back to us. Sometimes we set up different things that they have to do where they have to work together as a team. for different things. And so a lot of it is quite vague, which can be frustrating for people, but it really gives them a chance to work through the anxiety that also comes from some of the vagueness of it and to see how they work together as a team.
So areas such as when you say navigating the horses through the obstacles and challenges, and I can imagine the overwhelming sense of joy you'd have if that horse actually followed you along. But it's about figuring out if the horse doesn't do it, how you're going to respond and react.
Exactly. And it's interesting because we tend to tie different parts of the obstacles to different parts of either the journey that they're on or different goals that they're trying to overcome or obstacles that they face in their real life. And it's really interesting how horses tend to respond to the obstacles as they do to that real thing in their life. And so it's interesting how the horses just respond on their own. So sometimes the group will be very focused on one and the other one will go and achieve the goal. And then Miss Shana and I will watch to see if they notice that, what they do with that. Because some groups will be like, we're done. The horse went through the goal. And others are like, this is their horse and this is the one they have to get through the goal. So we learn a lot about the groups that we work with. And every session is different. It's really amazing.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back. We'll chat a bit more about the work with animals and mental health. Be right back with more Talk Today right after this.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Welcome to our Esso service station. How can I help you today, ma'am?
$25 in fuel, please.
Sure. I bet I can make you smile, too.
Bet you can't.
Would $5,000 cash make you smile?
Of course. Who wouldn't? But how?
Spend $25 or more in fuel at any of our Esso service stations, and you could be the winner of $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, one lucky winner will win $5,000 cash. Made you smile, didn't I?
I'm smiling.
Drive into an Esso station today. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop to slap. Stop to cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
I need a bank that is convenient for me.
What do you mean?
I need a bank that has easy to find locations and plenty ATMs when I need cash on the go.
Oh, well, that's easy. You need to bank with Cayman National. They have 7 customer service centers and 23 ATM locations. The newest one is at the East End Post Office, and I hear there's more to come.
Well, sounds like I need to bank with Cayman National Bank, the convenient bank, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Cayman National is everywhere. Surely they are Cayman's convenient bank.
Cayman National Bank. We're here for you.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have Mental Health Matters here in studio with Dr. Alexandra Brown, Dr. Colleen Brown, and Miss Shana Pandui from Cowboy Town Stables.
Yes, sir.
All right. And we were discussing the work of animals involved in mental health. And I want to focus a bit more this next segment on the difference between emotional support animals versus psychiatric service scenarios. Dr. Colleen, if you can walk through a bit about the difference between these two elements.
Yeah, more emotional support animals are more, so that's probably, to be honest, emotional support animals can fulfill very good things, but that is part of where some of the stigma comes up with when we're talking about animal-assisted therapies and things like that, is because the instant somebody hears emotional support animal, they think of somebody sitting on a plane with something that they've seen on the internet. You know, I've seen geese, I've seen ducks, things like that. So emotional support animal is an animal that's there to help somebody to calm them down. We're talking about petting animals before, things like that. It's going to lower your stress levels. When we're talking about more of the service animals with psychiatric and non-psychiatric difficulties, it's more an animal that has been trained to assist with those difficulties. So, for example, a non-psychiatric would be someone who has epilepsy. So a dog would be able to actually know when that person was going to have a seizure. For psychiatric, it could be, so for example, I had, a particular adolescent in the States who was in the process of getting a dog trained to assist with her OCD. So the dog would actually, stop her from completing rituals. If there was social anxiety, the dog would pull her away if they felt, the panic symptoms coming on, things like that. And what's important in that aspect is that they are... these dogs are trained specifically for disabilities that are defined with the Americans Disability Act. So they are specific with, having that legal definition of the disability. And that's the important thing to consider. As far as I'm aware, I tried to do some research this morning, and I could be wrong, but it looks like at this time there's no laws right now in the Cayman Islands where they have their specific laws. But, obviously it's something that we're trying to bring more attention to at this point.
Now, when we talk about the I'm going to confuse my words here. There's a lot of terms that we're just throwing out there. But the animals that work with OCD and social anxiety and those elements, the training of those dogs done by professionals, and then people receive a diagnosis and then purchase these animals to work with them?
So it pretty much depends. Yes. So basically what will happen is there's specific places that train animals to be service animals, service dogs. A lot of the places are geared towards dogs. It seems that when I was trying to research this, most of the dogs at this time or animals, usually people go abroad to get the dogs trained or animals and bring them back. One of the options as well, I researched because I am passed from the Philadelphia area, so I know a lot about this specific program, but I've heard recently that this is actually starting here as well. There have been a lot of training programs in prisons at this time, so what will happen is a prisoner is assigned an at-risk dog. So it'll come to, a dog that was previously had a hard time in foster homes, maybe came out of a neglectful situation, and that prisoner will take on that dog 24/7, train the dog for 12 weeks to develop companionship, develop the dog's abilities, and then that dog is usually able to be fostered out. And then at the same time, it's great for the prisoner because the prisoner has now developed a whole new level of skills, that they did not have previously. And I know that the program that is in the Philadelphia area is called New Leash on Life. And I know that in that program in particular, they have also trained dogs for some of the symptoms that we've been talking about. So for OCD, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, stuff like that, so that way individuals can get the dog who can help them with their difficulties.
It's very impressive when you start hearing about dogs having the ability to keen sense the sense that someone's having a panic attack or suffering. Somehow the people standing right there having the conversation with them aren't even recognizing those symptoms, and the dogs are actually feeling it and actually reacting to it. Are you aware of how the training goes to actually get these dogs to respond to those cues?
So what they'll do in the beginning is a normal obedience training. That always comes up first in these types of training scenarios, because if the dog can't learn to sit, then they're not going to be able to learn these specialized skills. And one of my clients particularly was trying to get a dog trained in this, so I was there along the way, seeing how there's definitely barriers into these type of things. And that's the other thing to consider as well. I know we're talking about the training in particular, but looking at the cost is something to think about as well. Some of my individuals were able to look at and try to get grants and funding for these things, but it is quite expensive. So, whether or not you can get the funds for this type of thing. But at first they have obedience training, and then they look at specific skills that the dog can help the individual with. So, for example, like I said, if somebody was trying to complete a ritual that was associated with OCD, the dog coming up and nudging them away from whatever they're trying to do, things like that. So it's basically, it has the same premise and the same basis as obedience training. It's just, way beyond that. And at certain times, the dogs actually tend to go to what they deem as doggy boot camps. Well, they'll go to a farm, and they have a very intensive training where their owners come and visit them, and then they're able to get the skills a lot faster.
Okay. Now, these dogs raised from puppies, or trained from puppies, or are we talking about dogs who someone has had for a few years that can then go into this training if they become diagnosed with certain issues?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. I've had individuals who have taken their dogs and tried to get them trained. Other ones who have had, puppies. The ones that are in the New Leash on Life program that's in the prison up in the States, I know that those are mostly dogs that have been from situations. They've been found wandering on the streets, been neglected, basically ones that are brought in by animal control. Okay. So some of them may be puppies, or some of them might just be dogs that need to be rehabilitated.
It's actually a truly impressive scenario. You started talking about the training. I'm curious about the training and how that would work. With the price we said it's expensive to get this scenario happening. What are we talking about when we talk about training and the price of training for dogs? Do you know the rough cost, what that would be?
I know it's in the thousands.
Okay.
But as I stated before, I know that numerous clients that I've had working with me in the States have looked into it. Some insurances have covered it. Okay. So, depending on the level of disability, some insurances, especially, I know I don't mean to knock my own profession, but when it's a physical disability, I think insurances do tend to cover a little bit more than mental health related, which I'm hoping will change over time with the stigma lessening with mental health. And then there's also been, some when you apply to a couple different training facilities, I know that they do offer grants or waive some fees for individuals based on, what they're presented with. I've written several letters for clients for things like this to see if, yes, this client is really diagnosed with this. Yes, they do have these symptoms and these difficulties, to kind of show and argue the case for that person so that they can try to get this assistance. Because not everybody who has something such as, for example, anxiety or depression really needs a service animal. And I think that's an important consideration. And it's if individuals have very large difficulties. And so, for example, if I had somebody who would not leave the home, but they could leave the home with the assistance of an animal that makes them feel calmer, that's a case when I think that a service animal would be really, really helpful. I know in the States it's started to come up more, as well as, service dogs being allowed in schools and things like that, and have been very beneficial for getting kids back into school settings. So there can be a lot of benefit to it.
Okay. I mean, it's important. I mean, I can understand the difficulties insurance companies may have, because it is a bit ambiguous, because someone that could have severe cases of anxiety and can't leave their home, and some don't. So there's a big gray area where the insurance tends to be a very cut and dry scenario of, you have a broken arm, so you need to get this XYZ treatment. But the cost factors are very real, especially here in Cayman, where we don't have the training facilities for these animals. Someone looking to get an animal or be involved more with that, it is a cost factor that should be aware of. And where can people find out more information on getting their animals trained if they wanted to, or finding out about acquiring a service animal? How can people go about finding information on that?
There are, if they just simply go on the internet and just look up, service animal locations in the States, they should be able to find things. One of the big places in the States is PAWS.
PAWS?
Yep. Okay. So if they look at PAWS training centers, that one is pretty big in the States and has locations throughout the United States. When I was doing my research trying to find out if service dogs were trained here, I did find a number of facilities that train dogs, just obedience train, in the Cayman Islands. But there was one Facebook page, Service Dogs of Cayman, which looks as though it's not somebody who trains dogs, but it's somebody just trying to advocate and create, more awareness of the laws, the background, all that kind of stuff. And that individual had several links on their page as well, where somebody could, look for individual, more information and where to send. She had a specific link to a place in Orlando that trained service dog. So that would probably be somewhere to look into.
Okay. And with the emotional support side of the animals, are these aren't restricted to dogs so much as the other side of the coin. We tend to focus more on dogs being the primary source of that animal assistance. With the emotional support side of animals, this can cover a range of animals, theoretically. Not a wide, diverse range, but cats can be. I'm assuming cats can be a...
yes, they definitely can be. I smile because cats are my favorite.
See, I look at the...
I
can laugh at that. I'm a dog lover, so I can...
I think, so, Dr. Bodden brought up earlier about chickens in nursing homes. There's been a number of different, animals that have been utilized in the States. One of the actual animal assisted therapies that we did in the States in Milton Hershey School in Pennsylvania used small farm animals such as goats, sheep, things like that. So I think a lot of different animals could be utilized. I think what's important with the emotional support is just that, the animal is docile and feels loving and caring. So it doesn't really matter what type of animal it is.
Now, I've seen, when I was a child, I remember seeing...
for the plants.
Pardon me? I remember seeing when I was a child a snake handler who would go around doing sessions on overcoming fear. And he would use the snakes as that brooch of... A lot of people tend to have a fear, especially of big snakes and pythons. You start talking about holding an anaconda, you start... Fear is an actual part of that equation. Are those types of scenarios... Those would not be qualified as emotional support animals, the overcoming of fears.
I feel like as though that, and Dr. Bodden definitely jump in here as well, I feel as though that is more of something that should be handled with a mental health professional.
Okay.
Because what you're referring to is the, in CBT world, she talked about earlier, cognitive behavioral therapy, that is deemed as exposure work. So, for example, I have a fear of spiders. So, therefore, if I wanted to go over my fear of spiders, we would slowly up my exposure to spiders until I no longer had the fear. I don't want to get over my fear of spiders, so that will not happen.
So you don't want
but what you're talking about, when
Nope.
someone has a huge snake and presents it to somebody, that could actually go into the realm of harm because of the fact that that is, presenting them with the worst fear. So that would be deemed in psychological research as flooding. So that's something that you're going to want to make sure you have a mental health professional there for, because that can put a person in very high distress and actually make the fear a lot worse. Obviously if somebody dropped a spider on me right now, that's going to make my fear worse. It's the same thing with the big snake.
Fair enough. So it's more like the ghost in yoga class kind of scenario. I've ever seen those, the yoga classes, and they have the baby goats that come around with the yoga.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
They're
that's the
so
emotional
cute.
side. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Several of my friends in Pennsylvania actually, go for the baby goat yogas.
Okay.
So, yep. It's very interesting to see the pictures.
Fair. It is. Nice. I've seen the videos. It's quite cute.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what these kinds of questions is what brought up the controversy in the States, because a lot of animals were then being classified as emotional support animals. And unfortunately, I think that's where we run into issues with, distinguishing psychiatric service animals because it has been so quickly abused in the States. Even things like iguanas have been trying to get... So what happens is in the States, if it's an emotional support animal... the way it was in the past, and I think they've tightened down a lot recently, is that it could fly for free in the cabin.
Correct.
without necessarily being in a bag or anything.
Correct.
And that's the issue, is that people were getting passed. So to get an ESA letter from a mental health professional, you just have to have a diagnosis. If you Google that, there's 100 websites now that will certify you over an internet interview for having a mental illness, right, to allow your animal to travel. So that's where we've now gone too far one way, and they're trying to come back to better regulate it. Because people were, a snake on a plane doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
It's a bad
nor
movie.
An iguana.
It's a really bad movie.
Yeah, actually it is. And so that's where they're trying to tighten down and have people they are very helpful. And the idea of an emotional support animal is not a psychiatric service dog. It's to provide comfort, in the moment, not specially trained like some of the things that Dr. Brown pointed out. And that's a lot of times just a pet who's certified. And so you'll have a mental health professional who says, and I know I've written those letters before as well for clients with high anxiety to request that they're allowed to have their dog be with them either on the plane or in school. But that's where that's what has brought up the controversy in the States, because now people are frustrated and pushing back a lot.
Okay. I actually wouldn't mind revisiting this after a break because I want to elaborate a bit more on how some of the controversies come about and what could be done to avoid that situation occurring here in Cayman. So we take a quick commercial break and back up more Talk Today right after this.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All-Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Okay, settle down. There's someone I want to thank. This guy knows how to get the most out of every fill-up. This guy had the common sense to drive into Esso so I could get back on the road. $5,000 richer. Thanks to me. Thank you so much, me. Thank you. Yes.
Spend $25 at any Esso service station and get a chance to win in weekly draws for $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, we'll be choosing a winner. You can also get a chance to win free fuel and prizes at our weekly Spin and Win events. That's $30,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Drive into an Esso station today. You'll thank yourself. The Esso brand is a trademark of Exxon Mobil Corporation and is used under license.
Hi, fellow classmates. This is Donna with roll call for our CIHS Class of 78 40-year reunion. Barracuda, Dolphin, Marlin, Tarpon, Wahoo, represent. Save the dates, November 9th through the 11th. We want everybody to come out for great food, great music, great company, and great memories. Link up now on the reunion Facebook page, CIHS Class of 78, or email CIHS78@gmail.com for more details. And see you in November. Cutting class reunion will affect your final grade. I wonder if Mr. Whiteside would give me a merit note for this.
Class of 78, call the Classique to leave your contact information.
I'm your boogeyman.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory-breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Thousands of Caymanians work in our cruise tourism industry. It is a myth that Cayman does not need cruise tourism. It is a fact that 4,500 Caymanians work in this industry today as taxi and tour operators, boat captains and crew, restaurateurs, retailers, water sports operators, and ambassadors at our attractions. If our cruise tourism industry is half of what it is today, what are we going to do with our people, the thousands of unemployed Caymanians? Support the peers, support our tourism.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in for today's segment, we are in studio with Dr. Alexandra Bodden, Dr. Colleen Brown, and Ms. Shana Pandui here discussing mental health matters and the involvement of animals in mental health. And Dr. Bodden, before the break, we were discussing some of the controversies surrounding animals involved in this and the balance needed between the laws and the needs of people with regards to these animals. Can you just elaborate a bit more about what we were discussing before the break?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's become difficult because people want their pets with them, right? And so that's where there's been this big push to allow ESAs on. So some people do need an animal with them, and there is a legitimate need for it. But we've been seeing abuse of that system in the States, and so the airlines, are now at risk from animals becoming dangerous or being out and about in the cabin or not being able to be controlled, and what they're allowed to do. So it is So this part is monitored by the Air Carrier Access Act, and so they're trying to figure out exactly, what to do, how to allow things on, how to legitimate emotional support animals, and that it's not just a certificate that's bought off the internet, because they were seeing different kinds of animals being brought on and not well managed. So I think it's hard because some people need it, but we have a lot of other people who are just paying to be able to take their pets on the plane because they want to have the free flights.
Of course.
Yeah.
During the break, we were discussing some of the issues that the airlines were having with managing this, and I believe it was mentioned as the American Disabilities Act, and some of the concerns with how to question this scenario. Can you elaborate a bit about some of those concerns with those airlines?
Right. Well, because especially with anything mental health based, there's a lot of privacy that comes with it as well. So, Dr. Brown and I, or when Michelle and I work together, we're not allowed to discuss anything about clients outside. And so, in the States, you're only allowed to ask if the dog is a service animal and if they're needed. You're not actually allowed to question them as to what the disability is. But what they have been doing is asking for a letter from a certified mental health professional. So if one of us is to write a letter like that, we have to declare a diagnosis from the DSM, which is what we use, which is the American Diagnosis System, and put our information and our license and everything on it as well, in order to legitimate what's going on. It's not, because you can even buy the service animal vests and everything, or badges for the leash, just on the internet. And so it's hard, right? Because if it's a true service animal, the dog is working when he or she is with their human. And so it's important to not get in the way of that, because the dog needs to be paying attention to its owner. But if it's just a pet with a badge on it, they may not have the obedience training that Dr. Brown was talking about. They may not have any training, actually. And so then they can be a risk to everyone else.
And with regards to Cayman now, are there laws in place now with regards to animals or mental health or animals involved in this mental health arena?
I think that we're still catching up. Okay. But all of us are licensed. Any mental health professional licensed here is licensed somewhere else. So Dr. Brown and I are licensed in the States, so we tend to follow the U.S. regulations. Okay. And a lot of our airlines are U.S.-based as well. Okay. A lot of the airlines do have their own policies for it. So when I have had clients recently request, I've actually had to fill out their part. As far as I've met with the person. One of the new requirements is that some of them will require that you're in treatment for it as well. Okay. So that there's not only a diagnosis, but that you are in treatment. So it depends on the airline what they expect and what we would what information we would have to provide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The reality is, unfortunately, these laws are necessary at times to protect from people abusing the use of service animals, etc. Especially if you can just go online and buy the service vest and a special leash and spend $15 doing that versus spending the cost of multiple flights. It's unfortunate, but the laws do have to catch up to the need for it. If we can just move over to just the benefits of pets for a second. I know we had the, there's always that debate, cats versus dogs, and I'm a dog lover, so I'm going to always hands up for the dog over here. But the overall mental health benefits of pets in general would be fish or snakes or spiders. For some people that have a fear of spiders, for some people that spider is man's best friend. Dr. Colleen is shaking her head. Absolutely not. That is not.
Absolutely not.
It ain't Dr. Colleen's best friend.
No. Will never be my best friend.
I had a fear of spider as a child, and then I outgrew it. But for a while, and right after Arachnophobia came out.
That was a wicked movie.
Yeah, usually Jaws caused a fear of sharks. But
I did an online poll as well on our Facebook page on Dr. Alexandra Bodden, and 25% of people who responded were cat people. I wonder if Dr. Brown filled that one out.
I didn't see that you had there.
Okay, 25% of people who responded were cat people. 75% were dog people.
We won.
But it's great because it's really any animal can have, that kind of positive emotional reaction as well. We work with some kids who love bugs. So it just depends on kind of...
I think half the world's young male population and girl
population. It's amazing what they can catch and what they can find at the horses.
And they hold them upside down and go, look what I found.
And they bring them to show us, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had a lot of exposure since we've been out there.
Pets are, there's a huge benefit to and Dr. Colleen, you had mentioned the ability to learn responsibility, whether it be from young children working with their pets to those being in prison, working with the dogs that have been abused in the past. What are some of the other benefits mentally, emotionally, family-wise, of pets or having pets?
Well, I may
Including
have said this
spiders.
before, but this is a huge one, is the lowering of blood pressure. So a lot of times an individual can just feel more at ease and less stress, being that their blood pressure is lowered, their heart rate starts to lower, increased levels of serotonin and dopamine. So serotonin is basically the happy neurotransmitter, something that is lacking when it comes to depression, anxiety, things like that. Dopamine is another one of the really happy neurotransmitters. That's one of the ones that gets elevated when we're doing something exciting that we really enjoy. So both of those will get higher when you are around a pet and enjoying your time with a pet. I actually, when I was looking up information, I found that heart attack patients with dogs survive longer than those without dogs. So there's definitely a lot of benefits physical and mental health are so interrelated. And that's something that we've talked about over and over again when we've talked about stigma of mental health and things like that is mind-body connection. So anything that can benefit your physical health is going to benefit your mental health and vice versa.
Okay.
I think if you're able to get a pet and you do have any kind of like anxiety, depression, or just straight high stress levels, as many of us do these days, there's a lot of benefits that come from this. We all know the feeling when the dog gets excited to see us, right? So there's like the companionship that can come with it, especially with depression. We tend to get a lot of isolation where people are very alone. So it gives them a companion getting out and about, because a lot of times people with severe depression aren't able to leave their house or have been cut off from friends. So dogs are a great way to get up, get moving, which is great for reducing anxiety as well. Any kind of physical exercise. When you have a dog or cats, you'll join other cat people in your pictures. Dogs, a lot of times when you go out for walks, you will meet up with other dog people, or you'll meet other people, period.
No, absolutely.
I know when we took my dog to the beach, my dog's not a fan of other dogs, so we didn't get to meet other dogs. She tried, but I knew she'd try to eat them. But you meet other people in the process as well.
No,
you're
absolutely.
out, you're about. It also adds structure and routine to the day as well. So you have to get up, you have to feed the dog, you take them for a walk, get up, feed the cats, do the litter box. There's different things. The goldfish, get up, feed the goldfish, turn on the light. Whatever it is that your pet of choice is.
And it's a big one. I think that sense of responsibility part of the thing plays into so many other elements. That sets the routine.
Yeah.
Because those who fall into the pattern of depression or anxiety, whatever it might be, get onto a routine. Any kind of structured routine is usually a good way to kind of start the process back the other way.
Yeah.
And when you have that warm dog, you can rub their head, and except when you walk in the house with bags of groceries and they just jump you right away. That's the only awkward part of the dog part.
I have a 100-pound pit bull, and when he wants to go outside, I know, because he's all over me. So so even if you're not feeling up to it, they will let you know when it's time. The cats sit on your head in the morning. Mine likes to pounce on my feet.
I was going to say, does your cat jump you when you come in the house? Or do you?
They both wait. They wait at the door. As soon as I open the door, they're sitting there waiting, and they let me know that they're upset that I was gone.
I mean, they are.
Haven't seen a cartoon that says dogs have owners and cats have servants.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's exactly it.
Even things like with kids that I work with, if they have dogs that can teach them tricks, it's a way of building competence as well, which is where the therapeutic horsemanship really comes in as well, with learning new skills and being able to have an effect on another being, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and being able to handle a 1,000-pound animal. So a horse brings something to the table that the other animals just don't have with the sheer size.
Absolutely.
And that can be quite intimidating for a lot of people. So to be able to learn how to handle the horse and work safely around the horse and develop a relationship can really build confidence and assertiveness skills.
Fantastic. On that note, I want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk a bit more about, go back to the horse side of the conversation. Be back with more talk today, right after this.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A team at the Health Services Authority undergoes an intensive 3-day fraud training program organized by KPMG. The workshop covered areas such as fraud risk management and assessment, procurement fraud, asset misappropriation, organizational ethics, implementation of an effective whistleblowing program, and detecting and deterring conflicts of interest. Good afternoon. I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, the U.S. midterm election campaign is entering a frenzied final day in a vote seen as a verdict on U.S. President Donald Trump's presidency. The opposition Democrats are hoping to retake control of the House of Representatives, while Republicans seek to tighten their grip on the Senate. Turnout is expected to be high, with more than 34 million Americans already having voted in the election. Both Donald Trump and Democrat Barack Obama rallied supporters on Sunday. It could take a generation to solve London's violent crime problem, the city's mayor has warned. 2 teenage boys and 2 men have been stabbed to death in the city in the last 5 days, including 15-year-old Jay Hodges. There have been 118 homicides in the capital this year, including 73 stabbings and 12 shootings, compared to 116 this time last year. And on Monday evening, October 29th, Kimberly Williams de Leon, 42, a mother of 2 children aged 9 and 5, and employed as an accountant at the Ministry of Education in St. Lucia, was found dead in her home after neighbors heard at least 7 gunshots fired. At a press conference the following day, the acting deputy commissioner of police confirmed the victim is the ex-wife of a serving officer with the same last name, attached to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and authorized to carry a firearm. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. Welcome back from your lunch break. In case you're just tuning in for Talk Today, we have Dr. Alexandra Bodden, Dr. Colleen Brown, and Ms. Shana Pandui in studio discussing mental health matters and the involvement of animals in the topic. And we'll turn the conversation back to you, Ms. Shana Pandui, and some of the work you've been doing with the IGALA. Am I saying that correctly?
IGALA is the Equine-Assisted Growth and Learning, and that's the Equine-Assisted Psychotherapy and Learning. Okay. We also do the therapeutic horsemanship and therapeutic riding. We also offer therapeutic ground skills.
Therapeutic ground skills?
Ground skills.
Okay.
So ground skills could involve learning to halter and lead the horse, learning to groom it, learning to move safely around it, learning to move various body parts, developing a relationship with the horse. There's tons of things that you can do with the horse that don't involve getting on its back.
Okay.
We do that as well, but not everybody is able or has the desire to ride, so that doesn't mean that the horses can't be beneficial for them. From a mental and emotional standpoint, the horses can help develop anger management, impulse control. You need to develop patience. You don't really force a horse to do things that it doesn't want to do.
No.
They weigh 1,000 pounds. So, and a horse that works with you out of fear isn't the horse that you want to work with, because when a person or an animal is working with you out of fear, there's always the potential for an explosion. Sometimes they've had enough. So you need animals, and in our case horses, that are happy to do the work that they do. And I believe that our horses are very happy with the work that they do. We have one horse that had a foal a few years ago, and she was taken out of service for many months. And I mean, I speak for my horses. A lot of people would tell you that they they don't have those kind of thoughts. But I could see her looking over the fence and looking over her stall door like, hello, like, when do I get to come back to class? And I had several people comment when she was put back in service that she looked like she was smiling in her lessons. So, I mean, I truly believe that she enjoys her job, and it's very important to have horses that are happy, healthy, and fit to do the work that we do.
Absolutely. And during the break, we were discussing the work that you've done with autism and some of the benefits you've seen. What are some of the benefits you've seen with those that have involved with the horses?
Well, we've had a number of students who are on the autism spectrum, and it's very good for developing self-control and focus, and helps to especially like when you're riding, the rhythmic motion of the horse can help reduce stimming and can help with focus on the task that you're asking them to do, as opposed to being extremely focused on this one thing that they can't leave alone. And I've had kids on the autism spectrum who they were happy to groom the horse, and they enjoyed that. And when it came time to get on the horse, they were like, I know you can't see my face, but they were like, that's just a little bit large for me. So we don't force people to ride, but we have had a few little kids that we made sure that we were ready to move the horse as soon as they were sat on the horse. And so they weren't real keen to get on, but as soon as that horse started to move, they relaxed and they smiled and they did the things that we asked them to do. It was just amazing, the change in their demeanor. And the next time it was time to get on the horse, they were more than willing to get on. You have some kids, especially on the autism spectrum, that have sensory disorders as well. So the act of putting on a helmet can be, they may not want anything touching their head. And we've been able to, they know they must put on the helmet to get on the horse, and they want to get on the horse, so they put on the helmet. It creates a desire. They desire to do something with the horse, so things that they may not normally do, they will do, and then that can be generalized into other parts of their life.
It's an impressive story here, seeing, and congratulations on putting all this together. That's just an amazing scenario when you think about some of the work that goes into that, into everything you're doing. Dr. Vaughn, as far as this might be too technical, but some of the science behind why this tends to work so well, are you able to elaborate on why this is the case?
For the EAP or for the therapeutic?
For the therapeutic.
Yeah. So EAP works just like therapy, right? And so a lot of times people hear about anxiety and depression, think of it as it's a chemical imbalance. I think there was a commercial that came out that said that. Okay. Right? And so things like that are often, mood disorders, anxiety disorders are often caused by a decrease in serotonin. Dr. Brown said about how serotonin and dopamine are boosted with animals. And so we kind of take it a step further with the equine-assisted psychotherapy and learning, because it's a lot easier to work things out, things like confrontation and moving the animals. You know, a lot of times if people feel like they're not able to have any power in their lives, that they're kind of just taken advantage of, it's hard to set boundaries. This can be a way of them practicing without having to deal with humans. So in our work, we're very careful to make sure that we only make observations of what's going on with the horses. Right? So we don't be like, we don't assume things, we don't interpret things as we go. We might kind of pose some questions to encourage people to think more deeply about it, but it's all about what happens with the horses. And it works a lot with metaphors as well. So if the horses, we had one kid come in and set up a jump, and that jump was homework. And then the kid just sat down. And the goal was to set up an obstacle and then get the horse over the obstacle. But it was interesting because that's what happens every day at home. He comes home, it's homework time, and he sits down and doesn't do anything. And so it's amazing the parallels that can come out of it, right? And so with that, with clients who like are looking at, you know, maybe making some changes in their relationships or getting back to work or being able to assert themselves more in their personal relationships, it's a great way for them to practice that without having to practice on humans. And because the horses are so responsive to them. And when I say we use clean language, that's something that's really important. It's a very client-centered model. We used to actually be activity-based. Like, they'd come in and we'd have specific activities we're going to do. But EGALA's even tried to take it a step further. So when we're doing the equine assist, so the workshops, the team building things, we'd still have a plan for the day. But with the therapy, we try to be more meeting the client where they're at, which is a term that Ms. Shana had talked about. And so when the client comes in, we'll develop something based on where they're at that day to have them work through it.
Okay.
And I think the most powerful example I've had with the clean language, because it's so important for us that it comes from the client, that we don't put our words on their experience. I think the best example I have of that was there's this lady so this is an example from a training I went to, so I don't know who this lady was. She was coming to for equine-assisted psychotherapy with with 2 EGALA facilitators, and there's always 2 of us, the mental health professional and the equine specialist, and they had suspected domestic violence. But if it doesn't come up in the arena, we don't talk about it, right? And so when she came in one day, she had a black eye, and she went into the arena, and there's 3 horses, and each one of them walked up, looked her in the eye, and stepped back. And so what they did was they reflected what happened with the horses. We noticed the 3 horses moved towards you and then took a step back. And she just broke into tears. And she said, I guess I can't hide it anymore. My husband has been beating me, and it's been going on for a little while. And as she started to say, she got very emotional. 2 of the horses walked up beside her and crossed their necks over in front of her. All 70 of us went, "Aww." It sounded to us like they were hugging her. But at that moment, she became enraged because she said that is her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law always cutting her off from telling her story. And so that's where she interpreted it very differently, because that's what's great about this. If we'd said, "Oh, they came to hug you," that's not at all what she said. And as a therapist, that's something we try not to do. It happens sometimes to be completely off point from the client. But that's where we, in EGALA, we really try hard to just make observations about the horses and the movement and use very clean language. Because if we're like, "Oh, the horses came around you," that's not how she experienced it.
She actually interpreted anything.
Exactly.
In that case.
And so that's where we're very clean with our language, so that that's the client who then interprets it and lets us know what it means to them in their life.
Absolutely. It's got to be all about their experience in the entire matter, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break. And we come back, we'll wrap up this segment with the discussion on children involved in this conversation about pets and mental health issues and how this entire scenario can benefit our future. Absolutely. Be back with more Talk Today right after this.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Hi, fellow classmates. This is Donna with a roll call for our CIHS Class of 78 40-year reunion. Barracuda, Dolphin, Marlin, Tarpon, Wahoo represent. Save the dates, November 9th through the 11th. We want everybody to come out for great food, great music, great company, and great memories. Link up now on the reunion Facebook page, CIHS Class of 78, or email CIHS78@gmail.com for more details. And see you in November. Cutting class reunion will affect your final grade. I wonder if Mr. Whiteside would give me a merit note for this.
Class of 78, call the Classique to leave your contact information.
I'm your bookman.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium.
For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Hello, this is Tamara Worms-Riley, the Community Dietitian at the Health Services Authority, and we want you to come out and bring your entire family to the World Diabetes Day health screening at the Health Services Authority Atrium on November 14th. That's Wednesday, November 14th from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Cedar, Lions Club, and the Health Services Authority will be doing a full health screening from 8:30 to 2 p.m. on World Diabetes Day, November 14. See you there.
Cayman's cruise industry must be preserved and developed. It is a myth that the cruise lines will continue to call on Cayman at the rate they do now without the piers. It is a fact that the mega-class ships will not be tendered. Arrivals will decline by half over time as the older ships are decommissioned. This will hurt our economy and thousands of Caymanians who work in this industry. If we want to continue providing opportunities for Caymanians, we need the piers. Support the piers. Support our tourism.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I've just found out that it's raining cats and dogs out there. No pun intended. So please all be safe on the roads today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne D. Banks, and we have in studio for the last part of their segment, Dr. Alexandra Bodden, Dr. Colleen Brown, and Ms. Shana Pandui here discussing the use of animals in mental health issues. And during the break just now, we were discussing the difference between the equine, am I saying that correctly?
Equine, yeah.
Equine specialist and the mental health professional.
Right.
And it's a combination team that you work together to provide the service for your clients. Can you just distinguish the difference in responsibilities between the two?
Yeah. Well, so I'm the mental health professional, so my job is to develop kind of the therapeutic aspects of the activities. So I'll have ideas for the clients and what I want, what I think is going to be important and the goals that we're working towards. And then in the session, I'm responsible for the emotional safety and the emotional processing of the activities.
Okay.
Well, and from my side, I have to be licensed as a mental health professional in order to qualify with EGALA.
Okay.
So we are all trained as mental health professionals.
Makes sense.
Yes, and as the equine specialist, I, of course, taking care of the horses, but I also take care of selecting the horses that we're going to use for different sessions, and then I keep a close eye on everything that's going on to, ascertain if something's going on with the horse. Maybe we need to move someone away without drawing attention to that because we don't want that to impact the session. But I keep an eye from a safety aspect.
Okay. It's fantastic. I'm sure it requires a great deal of collaboration, cooperation, communication between the two of you on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
To put on this entire scenario. So, Dr. Colleen, before the break, we were discussing the impact with kids and the work and the significant impact you can see with different issues for children. Can you elaborate a bit more about that and some of the benefits you've seen and why you believe those benefits exist for children?
Sure, and I know we've discussed a couple different things about routine and structure and things like that, but there's some other benefits that have been really shown. One of the things that just in general with children and pets that's been shown is increased self-image, just because pets don't judge. So therefore, they can have a relationship with that pet and feel that they're not being judged, which increases their social abilities. That's actually been shown with autism populations, actually specifically as well. Also for traumatized children. A lot of times pets have been the only friend they've had in a lot of situations when they've gone through bad, sad, or scary situations. So I've had a number of kids tell me, they miss their pet because their pet was the person they went to. I say person, but it really was. It was their relationship. It was the what they bonded with, and that can be really beneficial. I wrote down some different studies that have been conducted with children with autism, where have shown interaction with pets have actually increased positive social behaviors, such as talking, looking at other people, and physical contact with others, and that's usually due to the increased level of what Mashana was talking about when they have to complete something in order to interact with the animal. They're actually more receptive to interacting with other individuals as well, and they laugh and smile more, which is always a very good thing. One of the things that we didn't talk about much today that's been happening regularly in the States as well is reading to pets. So reading to a dog or a cat. And
or
this actually, you could read to a horse. Why not? This has actually increased reading ability and lowered a lot of different learning disabilities. Specifically, there was one study that looked at stuttering with children. And then therefore, because again, that pet's not judging them. They're just listening. They're enjoying the interaction. They're enjoying having the attention, and then it increases the confidence level of the child. So it's something, and also, obviously, I this isn't everybody, but I know when I hear a pet is coming somewhere, I get really excited. A lot of children also get very excited. So it has been integrated into a lot of day programs, residentials, and schools to try to help children in those circumstances.
So we're now seeing this program actually make its way into schools.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't know that it's happened here, but I do know that in the States it is a regular occurrence.
It's impressive. It would actually be great to have a lot of focus on youth education side of things, and it would be great to see how that would somehow impact Cayman and our school system here one day. Perhaps that's the magic ticket right there, is bringing some CIA, Humane Society dogs into the schools and having them being read to see a massive increase of it. It would just be great to see it happen.
Yeah.
But that's great. So what are the other we talk about the serotonin and the dopamine boosts that happen when we work with kids and adults work with these animals. What is actually causing that increase? We talk about the benefits with stuttering and some of the other areas being the lack of judgment, but what's actually causing the increase on the hormones or the chemicals side of things? Do we know what creates that change? It's just the soft fur?
Well, so that is really good for calming, right? So Dr. Brown introduced me to this. She's got a great fuzzy pillow that people love. So the fur, so when clients are anxious, grounding is something that we often will teach them. And so touch is actually the strongest way of bringing yourself back into the moment. So a lot of times when there's anxiety or depression, we tend to get very into our head, would be one way of describing it. We're out of the moment. And so grounding is a great way to bring it in, to bring you back into the moment. But a lot of times the connection with an animal as well can release even other things like oxytocin, which is what we get when we hug, someone that we care about. So being around a pet can also release that as well, just from the connection with them. A lot of times then you're paying attention to the animal, not the worry thoughts or the negative thoughts that are in your head. And so that shift alone can help to release some of the other more feel-good chemicals as well.
Interesting. Okay, so, and we're seeing the same thing with the horses.
Yes.
Of course. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the future for Cayman with this entire field, what does that look like now? I know it's a very broad scenario. We could be talking about fish one day. We'd be talking about any number of animals. Right now we're talking about horses, the potential for greater use of dogs in certain scenarios. But what does the future look like for this entire field?
Well, Mashana and I have been doing more and more work together, and actually some of the schools and some of the rehabilitative programs have been out to the horses as well. So we are hoping to offer more services there. The strongest evidence, so it is research and evidence-based as well, has been with addictions and with trauma. So we're hoping to offer groups as well in the next couple of months. There's been talk about possibly including equine-assisted services, which, as Dr. Brown pointed out, can also include donkeys and miniature horses. or any kind of some of the other animals that you find on a farm as well. Up at the long-term mental health facility as well. EAP in particular has been used in a lot of rehabilitations and the residential programs in the States. And there's a lot of work being done with anti-bullying programs in the U.S. as well, where they will actually take the mini horses to schools and have the groups work with them there.
With anti-bullying?
Yep, anti-bullying. So we've got some programs. So we spoke with people who are running anti-bullying programs. Very good for building confidence, learning coping skills with some of the emotions that come up around the animals, the frustration when they don't do what you want. So you have to kind of calm down and refocus when they try to take advantage, because the horses. So when we work on things like setting boundaries, we might have clients have to move them like away from food, right? So having to move them over jumps away from food, different things like that. Even getting the horse to stop and go when we're working on impulse control. So horses are being used more and more in those. It's exciting, it's different, it's more engaging. It's not sitting in the office and practicing things, which there's definitely a role for that. But it's a new kind of experiential therapy that's exciting. And even the team building workshops that we've done, it's in the moment and it's something different and very moving, for lack of a better word, you know, for clients and for kids.
There's been a long-standing relationship between humans and animals, and I think you're starting to see a lot of the results of this. And you're seeing very quick results, from what I'm assuming here, from the conversation we're having, is you're seeing, and the usage of this technique in the U.S. and other larger jurisdictions definitely has a following.
And I think it's great because it benefits the animals as well. Like they're reading. I saw the video with the kids reading to the dogs, and the dogs just look so happy to have, especially to have their little humans around them with them. Okay. So, and with the horses, one of the horses I worked with before, we had an animal communicator come talk to the horse, but the horse talked about all the kids, and all the kids should have been able to help. And I thought that was so cool as well. That the horses get a lot from it as well. And mission to make sure that if they do get tired or anything, we give them a break. Just like how therapists and people get tired, horses can as well. So
it's an impressive discussion. Curious to hear more about it as this evolves down the road, and perhaps yoga goats are being incorporated one day.
I saw them do it with bunnies too.
I think the goats were really cute. They were hopping around on all the backs of everyone, and it was definitely cute. So how can we find out some more information for our listeners? We are running out of time here.
Yeah.
How can people find out more information about the services, the EGALA services?
Yep. So they will be posted on drbodden.com under Mental Health Matters radio show. Okay. All of our information will be posted there, and our contact information. For EGALA, you can look at egala.org. For our services in particular, you can look at my website, which is on course.ky. Machina's services, so the EGALA and all the other ones that she offers, the hippotherapy and the therapeutic horsemanship, is on her website and her Facebook. So actually, I'll let you guys share your contact info.
Okay. Can you spell EGALA? I believe that had a unique spelling.
EAGALA. So it's Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association.
Okay.
DrBodden.com is probably easier.
DrBodden.com is easier.
It's all there.
And Shana, how can they find out more information about your services over at your stables?
Probably the easiest way is on Facebook, and it's facebook.com/CowboyTownStables. Okay. And that will bring you right to our page. And if you want more information about therapeutic riding, therapeutic horsemanship, there's another website called pathinternational.org. It's pathintl.org, and then also the American Hippotherapy Association.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Brown, for anyone looking for more information on work with children, how can they get a hold of you?
They can go to our website, oncourse.ky. Okay. And I think that in general, with looking at the pets, I think the best thing is to look at, all of the neighboring and, larger communities that are out there, United States, UK, and look at their different policies and things like that. Because I think it's great that we're just starting this discussion because it's something that's going to take a lot more discussing before we can implement anything.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in today and sharing all of this amazing information. It's fantastic. It really, truly is. On that note, we'll take a quick short break, and when we come back, we'll be meeting our YCLA finalists for this year. Be back with more Talk Today right after this.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advance notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM. CUC advises motorists that in an effort to alert approaching drivers of speed restrictions when entering an area of road where CUC vehicles and personnel are present, the company will be deploying rumble strips. These rumble strips are a series of raised transverse rubber strips laid across the road which changes the noise a vehicle's tires make on the surface and so warning drivers of speed restrictions. On approaching CUC's work zones, motorists will observe bright orange road signs signifying rumble strips ahead. Before entering these work zones, motorists will encounter the rumble strips that are encouraged to drive with extreme caution at slow speeds until they are well clear of the work zones. These rumble strips are essential to safeguarding against potential danger to CUC personnel. If you have any questions regarding the use of rumble strips, please contact our customer service team at 949-5200 or via email at service@cuc.ky.
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide in Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your tin and aluminum cans in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Help keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we're pleased to have in studio the YCLA finalists for this coming year. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
We've got a full studio in-house today. So we'll start this conversation with Miss Sheena Ebanks. Good afternoon, Miss Sheena. How are you?
Good afternoon, Cayman. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're fantastic. We have a full studio here. Now, we are here to talk about the YCLA Awards for this November 10th.
Yes, so this Saturday.
This Saturday,
yeah,
already.
It's right around the corner.
It is around the corner. I've just realized it.
Yeah.
The year's flown by.
I know.
In my head, I still have May.
A good one.
We were just talking about it.
But the year has full. So tell us a bit about the YCLA and I believe the Young Caymanian Leaders Foundation.
Sure. So we're celebrating our 18th year anniversary this year for the Young Cayman Leadership Awards. So these fine finalists are, honored and privileged to be a part of the family now. So welcome on board, guys. And the program has a mission to identify, celebrate, and honor outstanding young leaders within our community in whichever aspect that they've chosen to shine in. And throughout their actions and behaviors as leaderships, serve as role models for the young persons in Cayman, and members of the public have taken notice of this and shown this way to recognize them and honor them for all their contributions.
Now, you're a past finalist yourself.
I am a past finalist, 2016, yes.
2016?
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that experience. 2016, it's only a few years ago.
It was an amazing and humbling experience, I must say. So I know how everyone's feeling here, besides with the butterflies of having to talk now to the public. For some, we're not all Toastmaster specialists like some people, but it's going to you're gonna hear the difference between she and I. I'm not saying I'm too much, am I, Antoinette? Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. It was an amazing experience. I was very humbled to see the outpour of love and support from the members of the community, even persons I wasn't aware that were even acknowledging or knew of my actions. As with everybody in this room, we do it for the love of what we do in our community and to see others grow and strive. So it felt very honoring and humbling to know that others took notice of that. Even though we don't do it for that, it's still, as a human being, it still feels good to be recognized. So that was a great honor for me personally, and one of my crowning moments in my life so far on earth. So I'm glad that we've had these persons here today. We're going to talk a bit about who they are, what their platforms are, what they stand for, and just get the community to know them a bit more, because they have their silos and they have their sections that they're known for, but to get everybody a broader scope of who they are and what they offer to the public on a whole across the Cayman Islands, not just in Grand Cayman. The program is open to Caymanians between the age of 20 to 35, and nominations run all year long. So if you do have someone in mind to nominate, you can nominate them from now for next year's event. Okay. And if you go on our website, you can find then or check us out on Facebook, and you can get the nomination form there. Our website is youngcaymanleaders.ky. I don't have to say the WW, do I, at this point?
No.
All right.
I think we're all ingrained into it. We've all lived through it. We've grown up at the end of that. We're good.
Yeah.
And say it again?
Dial-up.
Dial-up. I still remember those days of hearing the ringing modems. So tell us a bit about this year's event. It's November 10th.
November 10th at the Kimpton. And we are looking forward to an amazing event. Our theme will be, I think, very embodied by the entire audience and the public as a whole, because we're going back to our roots a bit. And so we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but we think that it will capture not only, again, what the finalists have to offer in terms of their contributions to the community, but speak a lot about what the organization itself stands for and what our mission and vision was for when it was established 18 years ago.
Now, you came off being a finalist and have now come on to the board.
Yes.
What was your motivation for joining the board?
Well, they reached out to me shortly after my my event, and they obviously with boards, you rotate membership, and I was stepping away from several other boards that I had joined, and again, I felt so touched by being nominated and being recognized and learning about the support that I had that I didn't know I had. I felt, again, this is another way for me to contribute and help other young leaders and inspire them. We don't all have to be, nominees or finalists. You can still help in your community if you want to, and if you can, you should. But it was my way, again, of helping the YCLA Foundation and the board to be able to get the message across to the young people of Cayman. Of all people of Cayman, really.
Very noble. Very good of you.
Thank you.
Very good of you to come back and help out. Now, tickets for this weekend.
Are
they still available?
Tickets are actually sold out. We sold out as of this morning, yes.
Ouch.
Yes.
So anyone that could not get tickets, how can they see these fine folks?
Well, if you want to reach out to these fine folks or see them on the night of, then you can check. We're going to be doing Facebook Live. Okay. So you can watch us on Facebook Live on our page. And there will also be, let me check one real quick.
Just so
Cayman Life, Cayman Life on Facebook page, and our website, caymanlife.ky. life.ky. So you can check us out there and watch the program live.
Okay.
And then you can also, I guess, with it being on Facebook, you could probably catch it again after if you're unavailable for whatever reason.
All right.
And I'm sure you'll see all the social media pictures from, 6 o'clock when it starts with all the gowns and, dapper-looking men out there with their three-piece suit. It's gonna be a good show.
Absolutely. And when we talk about the joke about the internet just now, and you're live on the internet right now, by the way, just so you all know, you are live right now as we speak on the internet. You'll be live again on the 10th in front of the world. So it's great to see how technology has come along.
Yes.
You can now see radio. And
you have to dress up for radio now, right?
You should. Where's all the three-piece suits?
Yeah.
I feel a little out of it. Well, let's meet. Who's our first contestant today on The Price is Right? Who's going to be our first? Oh, no. I would actually start with Casey Mobley, since you're the top of my list. Casey, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. A bit wet from the rain, but
I bet. Yeah.
Actually quite wet from the rain.
Yeah, I wish I could help you with that, but I really can't. I'm sorry. How does it feel to be nominated for the YCLA?
It was actually really shocking. I think it just brings on this kind of state of surprise and just a sense of shock. But then also a great sense of honor, obviously. And I just feel like it's been a huge challenge and just it's really pushed me to just rise to the occasion. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And tell us a bit about yourself, your background, what you're currently involved in society-wise.
Okay. So my parents are Betty Ann and Chuck Mobley. I was born and raised in Cayman. I'm from Georgetown. I grew up going to Cayman Prep. After that, I did a year of A-levels, and then I went away to university. I studied sociology and political science, and I also got a master's degree in sociology. I came back to Cayman 5 years ago, and I've been working for government since then. I've been working at the Department of Community Rehabilitation.
Okay.
And that's the probation office. More people know it as the probation office than that long name. And I started out in an entry-level position as a probation officer graduate, and I've worked my way up, and now I'm a senior probation officer. So I supervise a large team, about 16 people. So that keeps me really busy. And then outside of that, I'm involved with various organizations. I've been in some leadership roles with those organizations. Let Me Live, Generation 412, Azalea House. Azalea House was a rehabilitation home that a friend and I started for at-risk women, and we ran that for a year. Yeah, so those are just some things about me.
Congratulations. And since becoming a finalist for the YCLA, what has life been like for you?
It's been busy. I think all of us, we lead pretty busy lives. And so this is just kind of added to that. It's been very different for me being in the public eye. I like to be behind the scenes, so that's pushed me to step out of my comfort zone. It's pushing me to develop more skills like speaking and just being more comfortable talking to a large crowd of people. Yeah, that's been a challenge, but it's been great personally and professionally to push me further.
It's always great to get out of those comfort zones. You don't grow unless you actually get out those comfort zones.
Yeah, stretching doesn't feel great, but it has great results in the end.
Very well. So that should be a quote. I'm going to use that quote one day. Now, if you were chosen as the recipient, what would your main message or platform be?
So my main message is called From Ashes to Beauty, and basically it's looking at those darker parts of our society, or the darker parts of us as individuals that need work. And so it's all about bringing light to areas in which there are darkness. And I'm a sociologist, so I look at everything from a macro level. So looking at, big areas in our society that we can focus on, problems like crime, education, different social institutions, but then also looking from a micro perspective at individuals and how can each of us as individuals look at areas in our life that needs to improve and improve for the benefit of the whole community, not just ourselves.
It's a very deep platform. Good for you.
Thank you.
And when it comes to our youth and the youth of tomorrow, is there any message you have for that generation?
Yeah, so in thinking about this, I really thought back to when I was younger, especially a teenager, and what would have benefited me if I had decided to live from a certain type of message. And so what I thought of was this concept of living, believing that you are loved. And I think that's really important because a lot of youth and even adults, we struggle with insecurities. We struggle with thinking that our failures make us inadequate. But if we truly believe that we are completely loved and we live in that way, believing that we can be confident, that we have value, then I think it gives us more freedom to be ourselves, to explore what we want in life, and to not operate from this place of rejection or hurt. I think it can open up a lot of doors and push us to take greater risks. Yeah. The other message I would have for youth as well is to develop a code of ethics to live by and to stick to those ethics no matter what. And, we all mess up. So even if someone does mess up and, they break their ethics, to acknowledge that and to just commit to moving forward, picking themselves back up and going forward and continuing to abide by them.
It's a very powerful message. Congratulations. It's a very powerful message. And how are you feeling with 5 days to go until the gala?
I think we're all probably really excited to just for the night. This is a really amazing group of people. I think one of the best parts of the journey has been getting to know my fellow finalists, and I'm just really excited for whoever gets it. I think it'll be a great night. I'm looking forward to hearing Spencer West. Yeah, so I'm just looking forward to it.
Very well said. The I will say this: you seem very jovial together. I kind of expected like the Highlander kind of series, like there can only be one. Like I had that mental image coming into like I'm going to come in this tiny little room. We're all sitting together, and the fight might break out. But you all seem very jovial.
That's the beauty of this.
Yes, of course.
Of this event, it's while there is one top finalist, everybody here is a winner. Everybody here made it to this far, and it's because they've already reached the peak and they stand out so much. So they're all the cream of the crop, and they're all at the top of their game with what they're doing. So they're all winners, really and truly. And the public treats them as such. So while there's one person that we have as our main spokesperson, we do invite everybody to be a part of the foundation and still do speaking engagements if they can. As always, we learn there is only one top person, but that doesn't mean that person was in any way, more than the other person. It's just it's a random, it's a scoring system.
It is. Yeah.
That's completely, unbiased, and it just helps them to understand that they're all winners, really and truly. And the nomination itself, the public is always so supportive of those persons from now till forever. They're part of the family now, like I said, and they'll always be known as that YCLA finalist. So that's a good thing to be known for, right?
It is.
So, yeah.
Sheena, thank you so much. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be meeting Miss Kimberly Connolly. We'll be back with more Talk Today right after this.
Ditch the competition and switch to Flow for up to 60% off our mobile, TV, and broadband services. Switch now for faster download speeds, better call quality, and lower roaming rates on Flow's fastest 4G LTE network. Plus, with clear streaming, you'll enjoy the ultimate in-home entertainment at the best value. Flow's raising the stakes, so switch and soar to new heights with us. Flow, Cayman's biggest network, proven #1 by an independent report. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Okay, settle down. There's someone I want to thank. This guy knows how to get the most out of every fill-up. This guy had the common sense to drive into Esso so I could get back on the road. $5,000 richer. Thanks to me. Thank you so much, me. Thank you. Yes.
Spend $25 at any Esso service station and get a chance to win in weekly draws for $5,000 cash. Every week for 5 weeks, we'll be choosing a winner. You can also get a chance to win free fuel and prizes at our weekly spin and win events. That's $30,000 $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Drive into an Esso station today. You'll thank yourself. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Cayman Kind is the Cayman experience.
We work at the Cayman Craft Market.
It is a myth that we do not need the cruise ship industry.
It is a fact that when there are no ships in port, we do not earn a living. We depend on the cruise industry, and if it was to reduce by half, many others just like us would suffer immensely. We want to work and provide for our families.
We need the pier.
Support the piers. Support our tourism.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
All right, and welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we have our YCLA finalists in studio today, and we're having an in-depth personal conversation with everyone to find out how they feel about this coming weekend's YCLA Awards. And our next up on the hit list is Miss Kimberly Connolly. How are you, Miss Kimberly?
I really don't like your terms that
A little scary? Sorry.
Yes, it is indeed. Thank you for having us in studio.
Thank you. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So, my name is Kimberly Connolly. I am from the District of Georgetown. My mother is Carmelie Watson, and my grandmother, most people know as Miss Pam Rocket. She is a cook, and she used to work at Savannah Primary, so she is infamously known. And
infamously known.
Yeah. So that is who I am in terms of my family and relatives. Outside of that, I don't know how to answer that question.
That's fair. That gives a bit of information about yourself. And how did it feel to be nominated for the YCLA Award?
Well, the morning that I got the call, I was extremely busy at work. So when I looked down at my phone, I was like, oh my God, who is this? And then when I answered, and she's like, my name is Brianna. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I ran out of the office. So needless to say that I was shocked. And it was, a humbling call, and has been a humbling experience ever since.
So we'll chalk up the next question I had. You're just humble. What has the experience been like since you were nominated?
So we are all busy, but it's been busier.
Of course.
And so everyone is listening. Before people were like, okay, yes, but now they're listening. They want to sit and talk with you. They want to hear what your opinions and ideas are about your different subject matters, because we all represent different causes. So it's been extremely busy, and it's been humbling to have this platform as an extension of all that I've been doing.
Okay. And what is the platform or message that you're headlining here?
So for me, the platform is to prepare and protect our children at any costs.
Prepare and protect.
Prepare and protect. Okay. Because what we don't realize is the adults that you're interacting with were once children, and how they're reared is extremely important to how they interact with each other as adults. So when we see someone that's broken as an adult, we don't realize that they've been broken from they were children. And so if you protect and prepare children for adulthood and being a part of the community in a positive light, then you essentially treat issues such as unemployment, crime, and other issues, social issues that we have in the community.
Very noble platform. And I could agree 100%. And your core message towards children, what would that be?
So my core message towards our youth would be don't keep up with the fashion and trends, because I think a lot of times we see this fantasy life on social media and even, people around us. Everyone's purpose in life is different and everyone's journey is different. So when people want to keep up with the fashion and trends, what it does is prohibiting them from being who they really should be. So everyone, looking to be a name brand versus leading their own brand. So that is a core message, and it's actually an important message because our children are so lost with trying to be someone that they're not, that we're actually losing them to social media, losing them to the fantasy life, and no one's in touch with what's happening on the ground.
Very well said. And with regards to the event this weekend, how are you feeling about it, being 5 days away?
I am feeling like Sunday cannot come soon enough so I can sleep in. No, I'm really, really excited. I have family coming in from overseas, so I'm excited to see them as well, for them to actually be here to share this moment with me. So I think that is, if anything else, it's extremely important. And like Casey said, I'm so excited to listen to Spencer West and his message, because for someone that's coming from, a background of adversity as a child, it is extremely important for people to know that no matter what you went through, you're not that person. You're not what happened to you, but you can grow and learn from that.
Ms. Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Folks, we do have a caller on the line, and we'll take this quick call here for 2 o'clock news.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all these lovely finalists.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
And for the chairperson of the afternoon. And I can hear you're all so excited that you can't even slow down a little bit for us to digest and analyze all of this excitement. So just slow down one little bit. Now, Miss Mowgli, does her first name begin with a C or a T like in table?
It's a K, as in kangaroo.
K as in kangaroo. Okay, how exciting. And I know you mentioned that we could see this on Facebook. Did Sheena say Cayman Live, like Live?
That's correct.
Cayman Live.
.ky.
That'd be Cayman Life.
Is it L-I-F-E?
Yes, ma'am. L-I-F-E.
L-I-F-E.
Life. That's my misspelling, sorry. Cayman Life.
Cayman Life. L-I-F-E at or
dot
K-Y?
Correct.
Okay, and what time should we?
No, I believe it's CaymanLifeTV.ky.
Cayman Life TV. What time do you think that we can program ourselves on in order to hear?
The airing of the event starts at 7 p.m.
Okay. And is this going to be covered by any TV channel? Because you said Cayman Life was Facebook.
Right, let me confirm that for you, and I will make an announcement shortly. I'm just going to check it with my media rep.
I appreciate that so much. God bless you all. I am so proud of you, Kimberly. I'm listening to the rest of what you have to say. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
On that note, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be meeting our next finalist, Mr. Samuel Young. Be back with more Talk Today right after this.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
Police are investigating a robbery at a fast food restaurant. Just after 9 p.m. on Friday, RCIPS were dispatched by the 911 Communications Center to a report of a robbery at the KFC restaurant located on Shedden Road, where a man wearing a dark-colored hoodie with a cloth on his face entered the restaurant brandishing a gun and stole a quantity of cash. No one was injured during the incident and no shots were fired. The robber fled the location with the cash prior to the arrival of the police. The matter is being investigated. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, a U.S. mayor has been killed in an apparent insider attack while serving with the military in Afghanistan. 39-year-old Brent Taylor died in Kabul on Saturday while serving in the U.S. Army National Guard, helping to train members of the Afghan security forces. The mayor of North Ogden, Utah, leaves behind a wife and 7 young children. A Pakistani TV channel has apologized after broadcasting a speech by Prime Minister Imran Khan in China with a caption displaying the word begging instead of Beijing. The typo appeared during a live address in the Central Party School in Beijing. And the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Health Minister have advanced new health initiatives, including deepening cooperation with French territories to ensure no citizen of OECS member states are left behind. The 5th Health Ministerial meeting held on October 18th and 19th in Grenada under the chairmanship of Deputy Premier Delmord Ryan from Montserrat assembled a gathering of ministers and health professionals. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
To the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have in studio our YCLA finalists for this coming weekend's awards gala. And our next hit list, it wasn't an appropriate term, so our next contestant is Mr. Samuel Young. Mr. Samuel, how are you today?
I'm doing well in yourself, just fresh off the plane.
Yeah. Just fresh off the plane?
Just came back, yeah.
And straight to the studio?
Straight to the studio. Yeah.
right onto the mic.
Right.
So tell us a bit about yourself, Samuel.
So my name is Samuel Young. I'm 30 years of age. I graduated from John Gray High School. I pursued a degree in my bachelor's in accounting. Ultimately, from there, I served in the financial industry, where I did fund accounting as well as auditing. In 2017, I changed my narrative to being basically owning my own business, which is now World Gym, where I serve as the managing director of. I use my memberships to help fund charities for fundraising type exercises. I'm also an advocate of self-belief and moving in an upward direction. I believe, completely, people should be involved, especially young people, into health and fitness because it bleeds into your personal life, your professional life. It edits the way how you perceive challenges in a positive way.
Very noble. Congratulations on the change in direction there.
Thank you.
That's and what has the experience been like since you've been nominated?
Well, immediately it felt surreal. I have been nominated for the YCLA award. It was something you had to take in. As time goes by, I just feel more positive about the event. My biggest, I guess, in terms of, I guess, something out of my comfort zone is public speaking. So that's something I have to embrace. Every single interview I do, I tend to be nervous for some reason.
It happens. The microphone just does it.
Yeah, so it's been a positive journey for me. I've grown since day one.
Good for you. And what would your platform be if you were to get to the stage?
Okay, so many of us cultivate self-belief by growing our fitness levels, which impacts our professional lives and our overall general well-being. It is my wish that more Caymanians utilize health and fitness to build their self-belief, and I intend to be an example and proponent of this.
Good for you. And what would your message be towards the youth of today?
Ultimately, it would be self-belief, and it would be through a avenue or an outlet such as health and fitness, which I believe, and it has impacted my life. It has made me a more disciplined person. It has made me believe in myself. It's the way it has edited the way I perceive challenges. So I would definitely inspire, or my core message to the young people would be to believe in themselves and to have an outlet and do it consistently, because it does bleed over into your personal life, into your professional life, and it affects in a positive light the way how you perceive challenges.
Very well said. I like the message you all are giving towards the youth of today, and some very constructive messages that are actually coming together here. And how do you feel about this coming Saturday? 5 days away.
Okay.
Only 5 days.
All right. So I'll just give you a small background to lend to my point. Being somebody who has competed and, won a few events and, won various things over time, when it comes to events, I just try to prepare myself as much as possible. And I don't hold too tightly on the outcome. I'm really happy. I mean, I'm win, lose or draw, I'm really happy to be in line with these people. And I'll prove it. Stacy, she's into she's into the Boys and Girls Club. I've done some background checks in a nice way, not quite in a competitive way. I just want to get to know them a bit better. Stacy, I'm very proud, and the only other person I know that has accomplished what Stacy has accomplished is my father. Stacy got 99% on her CPA and audit. Right?
How did you know that one?
Right, that's right. The only other person that I know that did that is Samuel Young Sr., right? And Casey, who I've known for many years, I'm very proud to see the professional that she is, the person, the woman of community that she is. She's a missionary. I was proud of her when I learned that, and the way how she articulates herself. I think she's a quality woman, all quality woman here. Also, Kimberly, I bought her book. Kimberly's an author. She's under the age of 30. Unbelievable, right? And then you also have Wilbur. He has his own charity. Like, this is just, I'm happy for all of you. So in terms of the actual night, I'm just excited for the end result, in an unselfish way.
No, of course. Yeah. That's very well said, and you're actually right. I mean, I'm sitting amongst 5 of you, so it's great. You're only sitting amongst 4. I get all 5. It's great. All right, so now in the hot seat, Miss Stacy Scott. You were cushioned between everybody else here. So
yeah, I was.
Yes, but now it's on you. How do you feel? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Stacy Scott, as you know. If the last name did not tip you off, my family's from the BRAC, so I grew up there. Like a lot of young Caymanians, I left at the age of around 17, 18 to go to university overseas. Okay. And I went to a very small university in North Carolina by the name of Elon University. Majored in accounting, graduated, sat my CPA exams. I'd heard horror stories, so I wanted to get them over with pretty quickly.
And got 99 on
one.
On one of them.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out how that happened, but I wasn't about to tell them to reevaluate the score. Yeah, and then I came back to Cayman about 5 years ago, like Casey, and I've been with KPMG ever since. So I'm a manager, an audit manager in the asset management practice there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And how does it feel to be nominated for the
It's very exciting. I think, like everyone else is saying, you just do what you do, right? And you don't really think that you're doing it for recognition or that you need someone to tell you thank you or say, hey, I'm noticing, but it still feels good, as Sheena alluded to, as a human being to have someone say thank you and to have someone recognize the work that you're doing. So.
And what has the experience been like since the nomination?
Very busy.
It's the common theme here. It's been very busy since the nomination.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I think it's been around close to 2 months now, guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's flown by. It's been great getting to know Sam and Casey and Kim and Wilbur and Sheena and the whole board really, and everyone that's part of the YCLF family.
No, I'm sure it's a very fun journey for all 5 of you. And what is your main message and platform?
So a lot of what I do outside of work, and even, to be honest with you, at work, it revolves around young people, and it revolves around lifelong learning and really instilling the message in them that, you know what, even though you're coming from a small country and you think that you're limited, you're actually not. There's nothing out there that you can't learn and master in time, and the world is your oyster. Dream big. Focus on like igniting a fire for learning and stay curious, stay involved. And that really is my message to youth. You can do anything. Never stop learning. The world is yours. Yeah.
Absolutely right. So your main message is actually the same message as my next question would have been, which is, what is your message towards youth? And that's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
It's a noble message. And how are you feeling with Saturday looming 5 days off?
A little nervous. So a lot of my family is still in the BRAC. I don't even know now if they've bought all their plane tickets. So if you're listening, Mom, Dad, cousins, everyone, please buy your plane tickets. But yeah, it's I can't believe it's here. Like, it feels like it's been such a long journey, but such a short one at the same time. So yeah, this time next week it'll be over, but a new chapter, I guess.
I think you used a great word there, the journey, and it's been a great journey, like you were alluding to just now, and it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter who comes at the end. It's the journey and the process of the past few months, and that busyness will last you a lifetime.
We will stay busy, for sure.
No, absolutely. All right, and last on the big list, I'm not being very easy on you with this hit list thing, but I figure with Saturday looming, it's a fun word. Wilbur, welcome. How are you?
I am fantastic. How about yourself?
We're doing great. It's almost 2:15. We're not outside with the rain, so we're doing great.
Hopefully it stopped raining when I leave.
So, Wilbur, tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Wilbur Welcome. Most people know my parents, long-term civil servants, Alden Welcome and Deborah Welcome. I went to public school, played a lot of football in my youth, went off to university, did a bachelor's in accounting like some of my colleagues, did an MBA, and through various different changes throughout my professional career, I'm now a policy officer in the Ministry of Financial Services.
Okay. And I understand you have your own charity. Did I just hear that, or did I misunderstand?
It's I wouldn't. It's not a standalone charity. It falls under our church. It's a little boys program that we started in Northside for young boys in the district. Something for them to do on a Wednesday evening.
Good for you. Good for you. And how did it feel to be nominated for the YCLA? And what has life been like since you were nominated?
I think, like all of my colleagues, it's been humbling to be nominated. And it's been busier. Like everyone has said, we all have stuff we're doing for work and outside of work. So you add something else on top of that with what we're doing now for YCLA.
I guess that's the truth, though, right? The reason you were nominated is because of some of the efforts you do, and between your regular, quote-unquote, 9 to 5 and then those extra things you do that got you nominated, and then being in the nomination, it's a busy life for you all.
Yes.
But congratulations on getting through it. Only 5 more days to go. So it's almost there.
Sam, your dress ready?
Oh man, I got a nice tux last week. I'm in love with it, man. It's got suspenders. I can't wait to show you.
Do you get a preview?
I hope so. You only
Yeah. So Wilbur, if you were chosen as a recipient, what would your main message and platform be?
My main platform is I am my brother's keeper. And I have 2 messages, not just for the youth, but for anyone that's listening. First and foremost, be yourself. And secondly, have compassion for your fellow person. Because you don't know what struggle they're going through. You don't know what battle they're fighting today or yesterday or tomorrow. So be yourself and have compassion for one another.
It's a very nice message. Good for you. And your message towards children and youth that came out?
I have one message for everybody.
Same.
Yeah, be yourself and have compassion for your colleagues or your fellow person.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And with this Saturday on the horizon, 5 days off, how do you feel?
I think I'm like Kimberly. I'm excited to see Sunday. So no matter what happens on the night, I'm sure there will be a worthy winner. And I'm sure the worthy winner will include everybody in the group to do speaking engagements. So I'm sure this isn't the end, just a new beginning. So I'm excited for Sunday, and all the dust settles, and
you all get to sleep in.
We can all go and do something fun or interesting.
Good for you all. Wilbur, on that note, we will take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be hearing a little bit more about this weekend's festivities with the YCLA. On that note, we'll take a quick short break and be back with more Talk Today right after this.
You remember the sale at Vant Motors?
Yeah, the Your Sale, Your Choice, the one where you can get cash back or can put the savings
savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on. But now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during your sale. Your choice at Vant Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice. Because you know what you need, and Vant Motors will help you drive it home. Vant Motors on Walker's Road. A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square, enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Cruise tourism is a vital part of Cayman's economy. It is the government's responsibility to create an environment where our people can have an opportunity to grow and prosper today, tomorrow, and into the future. It is a myth that Cayman does not need cruise tourism. It is a fact that cruise passengers spend $200 million per year buying services from small businesses, tour operators, attractions, restaurants, and retail shops. Those funds stay right here, supporting our economy and communities. Support the pairs. Support our tourism.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the Lamb.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. He's a name in the Lamb's book of life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we're going to put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in for the last part of our show today, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have in studio our YCLA finalists for this coming weekend's awards gala. And we've just heard their general biographies and some of the premises upon which they have been selected for the YCLA. And we're going to throw a bit of a curveball at them right now and just ask them a question that was not supposedly scripted for today. And we're going to start with Mr. Wilbur Welcome, who finished off the last segment. And the question we have for you, Wilbur, is if you had the unique opportunity to have all of the world leaders together in one room, what would you ask them? What would you say to them? What would you take that opportunity to actually communicate to them?
I would communicate to them that despite them representing their own individual countries, we are all on one planet together, so they need to focus on what's in the best interests of the many, not just the few. So my message to them, because I don't know what I would be able to ask them, so my message to them would be to focus on everyone, not just the interests of their particular country.
Okay. Susan Watson said that's a great answer, by the way. She's over there. She's just called you out and said that's a great answer.
Times that by 4.
Miss Casey Mobley, same question to you. If you had the unique opportunity to sit down with all of our world leaders, what would you communicate to them?
That is such a hard question. I think that I would want to just remind them of their role just as a human being, not just as a leader. I think sometimes when people get into positions of power, they often make excuses for not treating people with common courtesy or with just basic decency, maybe because of bureaucracy or just because of hierarchy. But I just think, we see so much leaders or politicians from all over the world just kind of speaking really crudely to one another. So just reminding them to treat every single individual, whether it's a fellow leader or whether it's the homeless person on the street, to treat them with the same level of respect and dignity, and just to really consider the value in every single human life.
Well said. Mr. Samuel Young. Same question to you.
I'm happy you asked me. Right, so I think mine has two parts. Immediately, I would ask him, my question would be a very introspective question to get to my next point. I would ask him, how do you define happiness? Personally, I used to perceive that happiness was, lots of pleasure and these type of things. But truthfully, extreme pleasure is kind of disruptive to the mind. Happiness is actually contentment, right? And then I would lead on to what I would describe as equality. So it doesn't matter what your color is or your religious beliefs or your height, your eye color. It doesn't matter. Separate and aside, truth is, we're all the human race, right? So can you define happiness under those terms? I think that would lead to more equality across the board, and it would analyze themselves as well as leaders.
Okay. Well said. Miss Stacy Scott?
I think I would start out with a question. Are your actions coming from a place of love? And not just a place of love like for yourself or for your country, but for the person that you pass in the street or the person that you don't know, or the person who's living in a war-ravaged country and maybe needs a little bit more help than you or I would. And if your choices are coming from a place of love, I think we're all in a much better position as a human race. And if they're not coming from a place of love, what action can you take, big or small, to change that in yourself and in the citizens of your country? And I think it's really that simple. If you do things from a place of love, then more often than not, you're making decisions that are sound and that ultimately put you and those you interact with in a much better position.
Very well said. Okay, Miss Kimberly Connolly.
That is a very deep question, but like everyone else, I think it would be two-part. The first question for me, though, would be, why do you consider yourself a good leader? And then that would then cause them to self-reflect. And then once they're thinking about that, I would also advise them that it is extremely important that everyone is counting on their leadership style and ability to make the world a better place for everyone. And that is something that Toastmasters helped me with in terms of my leadership, going through the program, having served in different roles, presidency, and currently serving as the area director over Cayman and Turks and Caicos. It has allowed me to answer that question for myself. And then once you've answered that, then you know that you're operating in the best interest of everybody around you. It's not only about yourself. So I think that's extremely important. And then the final thing that I would advise them on is there needs to be a succession plan in place for who the next great leaders will be. Because I think as leaders, especially world leaders, they're operating as if they'll never be replaced. And it is detrimental to the overall development of the world on a whole.
Very well said, everybody. Very well said. Thank you so much for all of that. I think I speak for all of Cayman right now when I say we're wishing you all the best with this going Saturday. I think you're all very well deserving of the award, and it's impressive to actually be amongst you right now, actually hearing everything you've said so for the past hour. Very impressive all around. So big tap on the shoulder for everything you've said and done over the past few years. We'll turn it back to Ms. Sheena. If we can actually just get a quick recap again about this weekend's awards gala and all the information for our listeners at home who, unfortunately, because tickets are now sold out, will not be able to attend in person, and how they can get to watch the entire gala.
All right, thank you very much. So just to recap, the event is this Saturday, November 10th. Everyone will be in their fancy dresses, so they want to be seen on TV, right? You dress up maybe once or twice a year to, So we're going to be airing on caymanlife.ky, and also we'll be on Logic Channel number 33. Okay. And you can check us out on our YCLA Facebook page, where we'll do Facebook Live through there. So those three social media mediums will be what we use to keep the general audience and public in tune with what we have going on. I just want to close by congratulating all the finalists. You guys, especially that on-the-spot question, was, beautifully answered. I'm very proud of you all. I wish I could take credit for that. All the messages that they've talked about today speak the same language in the end, no matter which way they go about it, through exercise, through academics, through rehabilitation. They all talk about, expressions to each other and expressions to the young members and there's everybody in the community in a whole, that you are loved. You are somebody that we want to know and we want to help to take care of, which fits beautifully into our theme, which is it takes a village. Which again, when I mentioned when we first started, that most people in the Cayman Islands would relate to, is that we're going back to our roots. It takes a village, and that means we are our brother's keepers, as Wilbur said. And we should be responsible not only for the people in our immediate households, but for our community as a whole. Because if we have to live in this community, we want it to be the best that it can be. And to do that, we have to step up. We have to be the change and the need that we want it to be. So that's what YCLA is about this year. Every year, really, but we've, embodied that theme this year. And like I said, for us, it's teach them, what their past is about and help them along their journey to the future. They are our future. Like Kimberly said, we're not all going to be here for the rest of our lives. We all want to retire someday too, right? Go by the beach every day. So we don't want to be doing this forever. But for the young generation that's going to come behind us, they need to be able to take up the reign, and we want them to do so very equipped to do so. Mm-hmm. So not just willy-nilly and then throw our country into disarray. We want to give them the best tools and opportunities possible to do that. And everybody's platform here does that. So I pray that they all continue to do that, and with God's blessing they will. And that whoever's chosen on Saturday night, they continue to help their fellow finalists to get to where they want to be as well. As you can see, they've come together in 2 months, where they might have known one or two. They've formed a family of their own, and that's what this is about. It's about, making ourselves feel a part of that village, and want to spread that love and joy to everybody across all 3 islands.
Ms. Sheena, thank you so much
No
for that.
problem.
And to all of you, all the best for this coming Saturday.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
again on being selected. Being selected on its own is
very becoming.
It's a very big deal. And again, on behalf of everyone in Cayman, I think everyone's wishing you all the best for this coming Saturday.
Thank you.
On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for Talk Today. Thank you to our loyal listeners in Radio Cayman Nation, and to our guests, Dr. Alexandra Bodden, Dr. Colleen Brown, and Ms. Shanna Pandui, and all of our YCLA finalists. All the best to them at the upcoming awards gala on November 10th. You can tune into Logic Channel 33 or watch it on caymanlife.ky. Thank you again as well to all of our participants, sponsors, and volunteers that helped make this past weekend's Breeze Fusion 5K walk run a very successful event. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a great week.